Holding some of the strongest and weakest episodes of the series, Season 4 suffers from uneven pacing, a weak villain, and some dull and directionless new characters. Yet amid all the confusion, the season shines brightest when it continues to explore the tension between Buffy's predetermined role and her desire for autonomy and self-determination. Known as the Season of Change, the show sees the Scooby Gang grappling with who they are in this new stage of life. Having left childhood and various authority figures behind, each character must reject conformity and the influence of others to form their own identity. The initiative storyline highlights this on an extreme level, with Maggie and Adam using operant conditioning to control the nature of others and force compliance. While not fully fleshed out, the writers use Riley's journey from unquestioning soldier to anarchist as a means of drawing comparisons back to Buffy and her breaking away from the Watchers Council.
But it's okay now.
See, that's where you and I are different. I just suck at the whole gray area thing.
It's a choice. Go back in there and maybe make some changes from the inside. Or you can quit the team, fight demons in your own way.
Make it sound so simple. I don't even know what my way is.
Well, it's time to find out.
Another more subtle comparison is with the character of Giles. Season 4 saw Giles floundering and purposeless after being fired from the council due to his love for Buffy. While his affection for her wins out in the end, Helpless does not shy away from portraying Giles' compliance with the council's directive as predatory, as the episode draws parallels between Kralik, Giles, and the council. The events of Helpless mark a turning point for him, as Giles begins to see the institution that his family has been a part of for generations for what it really is, an oppressive patriarchy that serves only their own power. Season 4 shows him wrestling with not only his identity apart from the council, but his values. As with any break from a belief system, Giles' old ways of thinking crop up from time to time, often without him even realizing it. In Restless, his seeming hypnosis of Buffy, along with his words to her, call back to Helpless and imply that he believes her to be incapable of taking care of herself. This is reinforced by his childlike view of her and solidified by his final words to the first Slayer.
You couldn't know. You never had a watcher.
These words reflect the patriarchal view that the Slayer is dependent on the Watchers, and in doing so draws parallels between the Council and the Initiative, while setting up Buffy's dream. In contrast to Riley and Giles, and with the exception of the freshmen, Season 4 Buffy remains unwavering in her sense of self, consistently choosing to push back on the institutions that would seek to box her in.
Why exactly can't we damage this poke of thing's arms? I mean, not that I want to, it's just, in my experience, when fighting for your life, body parts get damaged, and better its bits than mine. Or ours.
One of the core tenets of both Buffy and Angel is the philosophy of existentialism, which is the belief that we alone are responsible for creating meaning and purpose in our own lives. Since the beginning of the show, Buffy has struggled with the expectation that being the Slayer would interfere and even supersede her normal life, taking away her choice and fundamentally changing who she is. The entire premise of the series and even the very definition of the Slayer rides on the emphasis of Buffy being alone. Because of this, she initially rejects her calling, yet eventually comes to embrace it as a part of her, all while stubbornly refusing to let go of her humanity and the relationships that represent it.
I walk. I talk. I shop. I sneeze. I'm gonna be a fireman when the floods roll back. There's trees in the desert since you moved out, and I don't sleep on a bed of bones. Now give me back my friends.
In doing so, the show rewards Buffy's decision by making her stronger than any other Slayer before her, showing that her strength lies in her desire for self-autonomy, reflected through her friendships. In this light, the series portrays Buffy separating herself as wrong, even as it continues to hammer home the inherent isolation that she experiences by being the Slayer. This is emphasized in Restless as Buffy searches for her friends, recognizing them as essential to her life, while the Scoobies view her as childishly naive, revealing their fundamental misunderstanding of both her and her function as a Slayer. This divide leaves Buffy caught in the middle. Her friends and family will never truly understand the sacrifices she must make, yet to isolate means to detach herself from the human world.
But you didn't earn it. You didn't work for it. You've never had anybody come up to you and say that you deserve these things more than anyone else. They were just handed to you. So that doesn't make you better than us. It makes you luckier than us.
Despite this, Buffy repeatedly chooses her humanity, unknowingly creating a ripple effect with each act of self-determination that steadily builds towards her final act of defiance. In Get It Done, Buffy's confrontation with the Shadow Men mirrors the one with Sinea in Restless. Once again, she chooses her humanity and rejects the change to her nature, using her voice to repel the demon just as she used it to defeat the patriarchal symbols in Hush. While Checkpoint revealed that it is not the Slayer who needs the Watchers, but the Watchers who need the Slayer, Get It Done reveals that it is they who have created the hierarchy within which all Slayers must function.
You're just men. Just the men who did this. To her. Whoever that girl was before she was the first Slayer.
Wait, for how?
No, you don't understand. You violated that girl. Made her kill for you because you're weak, you're pathetic, and you obviously have nothing to show me.
When facing the first evil, Buffy recognizes the same power structure that she has resisted over and over again, and it is this realization, along with the first Slayer's warning of her power not being enough, that gives Buffy the idea for Chosen.
You know the drill.
Into every generation, a Slayer is born. One girl in all the world. She alone will have the strength and skill to... There's that word again. What you are, how you'll die. Alone.
For years, she has experienced the power of the Slayer, that it is both a source of strength and a burden. Yet in consistently rejecting the patriarchal framework that demands she work alone, she has discovered that shared power only leads to more strength, not less. Buffy's invitation to the potentials represents the culmination of her journey. By choosing to share her power, she starkly contrasts the Watcher's approach. Rather than seeking to acquire more power, usurp it from others, or impose it on someone else, she acknowledges her own limitations. Instead, she extends an opportunity to others, providing not just the option to bear the weight and accountability of being a Slayer, but also establishing a community that comprehends and collectively shoulders that responsibility. Through this act, she disrupts the prevailing power structure, reconfigures the system, and ultimately liberates not only herself, but all Slayers.
Yeah, you're not the one and only Chosen anymore. Just gotta live like a person. How's that feel?
Yeah, Buffy. What are we gonna do now?